heart. And why do I do what I do? Because I love helping buyers find the perfect property and sellers to sell a profit. In 24 years of selling residential real estate in the Boulder, Denver metro area, what I have found is that the real estate transaction is very stressful. So not only am I in charge of helping with the contract and writing up contracts and making the transaction go smoothly from offer to close, but I also help smooth out the emotion and make it a pleasant experience for everyone involved. Today what I'd like to talk about is, ta-da, what's going on in the market today? It seems to be a question that everybody has, and sort of how are we doing nationally in comparison to how we're doing here hyper-locally right here in the city of Boulder. So we're going to start hyper-local and then work our way out, and it's pretty interesting. I'll be focusing today mainly on single-family homes, and just to give you a little definition on what that would mean. So we have things where you live in communion with people, where walls are attached or floors are attached to your neighbor, and that would be considered an attached dwelling. And so that is different than a single-family home. A single-family home sits on its own, and your walls are not touching someone else. First, we have the City of Boulder market, and we're talking again about the single-family homes. So the average price for a single-family home, February 2016, was $917,000. February 2017, we're at $921,000. What I want to point out is the year-to-date days on market. So days on market until sale. This is a big marker for determining whether or not our market is healthy. And as you can see, year to date, it's the same number of days. 89 days is not that long. If you think about it, if you're getting a loan on a property, from the time that you receive the offer to the time that the appraisal happens, to the time the loan closes, 89 days is pretty good. You'll see here, though, that the year-to-date, February to February, average sale price actually dropped 3.2% here in the city of Boulder. We had an anomaly last month, January, which was one of the best Januaries on record for real estate sales. Why? We don't know. Normally, the dead of winter is just that. Most realtors go on vacation for months at a time and leave the market until spring, which is when things start happening again. But January was...
Maybe because it was spring in the winter.
Yeah, right. It felt like it. So global warming can affect your sales. And we can be proactive here too. If you guys see something that's jumping out in one of these statistics that you have a question about or want to talk about, please just join in. So here we're opening up a little more. We went from City of Boulder to now we're Boulder County. So keep in mind this will include City of Boulder. So those high prices of City of Boulder are included in these numbers here.
Okay.
Yes?
Can you go back to the last slide? I wanted to check out the median sales price,
Sure.
which to me is a little bit more meaningful.
787.
787 versus...
February this year, February last year, down 2%. Year to date, 865, 812, down 6%.
Okay, so
Is
the
that
median
downtown
and the average
Boulder?
are coming down to...
It's City of Boulder. So as far north as like Yarmouth and Dakota Ridge.
Governor, Tennessee.
Yeah.
It has weird lines over there.
Page City. Texas.
No, we don't.
Average sale price, February 2016. So down here, average sale price, 2016 to 2017. We go from 570 to 585, 802. Year to date, it's up 9.4% from 2016. So County of Boulder we saw a greater increase than what we saw in the city of Boulder.
So when you're talking about single family, I mean, square footage wise, how much are you probably actually talking
Does not
about?
take that into account.
It does
Just
not
the
take
fact
that into
you're
account.
standing alone.
Okay.
And why do you ask, Rob? Because some people wonder about size of homes. and
Well,
value.
it depends upon right, it depends upon what your usage and what your practicality is for actually wanting to be able to use it. I mean, like, example, artist, I'd like to have a shop, so I'd like to have that extra area, not necessarily that's for home living, but I'd still like to have it accessible on a house. And that's not necessary for everybody, but when you're actually considering all your variables when you're shopping and stuff like that, that's definitely
True.
right.
And when it comes to valuing, sometimes what I'll do is, if someone asks me to list their home, I'll find comparables, which would be about the same square footage, about the same number of bedrooms, about the same area, that kind of thing. And then I average those numbers to come up with a good range for them and the price that they would want to be pricing it at. And something happens though when you get to a really large home versus a really small home. If you apply that same price per square footage, you're going to get a tremendously different price from that. So a home in Martin Acres, which, you know, they're going for $600,000-$700,000, they're small.
Right.
But if you were to apply that same square footage marking to the large properties in, let's say, South Boulder or something, they would be priced way out of the market. So a smaller home is actually sometimes a better investment in a rising tide of a market because you can only get so cheap on the price. So, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go back to this slide here. So year-to-date, 9.4% for 2016. The year-to-date days on market, so down here, year-to-date days on market went down for the county also from 66 days to 63 days. So looking at this, one would say then Boulder County has been slightly healthier in this last month than the city of Boulder has been. Right here you see this Realtor logo, and I just want to touch on this a little bit. So the advantages of working with a Realtor, which is what I am, is such that understanding that anyone can get a real estate license, but not everybody is a Realtor. So you have your agents and you have your Realtors. A Realtor is a member of a local, state, and national professional trade association. And Realtors are also committed to higher levels of education and professional development. I, as a Realtor, also receive up-to-date information on financial and economic issues, and I have access to an association with more than 80 years of experience. In addition to subscribing to the Realtor's Code of Ethics, which there's laws that you have to abide by, and then there's ethical practices that we abide by. But other than adhering to the Code of Ethics and belonging to my local, state, and national associations, I've undergone additional training to serve specific markets. One that I'm really passionate about is the veterans. And so there was a bill that was passed, the VA bill, years ago, and when servicemen were returning from serving our country, they got here and they wanted to start their lives, but they didn't really have the finances or the wherewithal to be able to do that. And luckily, we were able to create financial vehicles to get them into homes without much money. And most veterans, unfortunately, have a hard time getting accepted as an offer when someone's saying, okay, here's our offer to purchase this property, and the type of loan we're bringing in is a VA loan. Unfortunately, a lot of sellers say no to that. But so part of my education has shown me is that to be able to educate my sellers and say, no, you know, these veterans have served our country, you know, let's give them a break. If it takes an extra week or two because it takes slightly longer, let's do it because these people have really helped us.
So, excuse me, you're saying so that process, their loan process for VA loan takes longer than an average one, and so it could make a sale fall through?
Right. Traditionally it has. And because of training such as this and certifications such as this, lenders, realtors can understand and educate our clients that, you know, the deal isn't dead. Let's just give them a little more time. And the appraisals are actually going through as quickly as a conventional loan, so it's really not a problem now, but people, the public still has sort of this mentality that maybe it will. So, moving into the state of Colorado, getting a little more broad here. The average year-to-date sales price went from $364,657 to $413,824. February to February, we were up 8.4%. Any questions? What I wanted to point out in here is, you can't see this, but these are the months of the year. So this is January 2016, June, September, yeah. Anyway, right in here, this is the dead of winter, or this is the spring season. So starting in May to August, this, you can see all these high peaks. And it's low typically on either side. But so this is where we tend to get a lot of our activity. So here we are, the beautiful state of Colorado, and there's an anomaly going on here, which is people are attracted to our state. Westward came out with this top 50 reasons why Colorado is better than the rest of 50 states. A few that I pulled out were, Colorado is one of just 3 states with no natural borders, meaning we separate ourselves from the crappy states surrounding us through sheer force of will. In your face, Utah and Wyoming. Number 25, NORAD plus Santa. Awesome. And the number 1 reason, oopsies, and most of all, we're pretty much a mile higher. So. Can you guys think of other reasons why Colorado might be so popular, given the fact that real estate prices are so high? But
Marijuana?
Well, yeah, so that's the number 1 there.
I think it's a state that doesn't have a lot of natural disasters.
True.
No bugs.
Earthquakes, no tornadoes.
No,
Maybe we do have tornadoes.
No
It's-
hurricanes.
Yeah, I've heard that we're basically economically actually pretty stable compared to a lot of the other states in the
We have one of the lower unemployment rates.
yeah.
That's gonna change soon, though. A lot of boulders employed by, environmental stuff.
Right.
It's a healthy state. It's a healthy
No humidity. True. No bugs. No bugs.
No ticks.
Yeah, no.
Okay, but the rest of the country, you don't need to know this.
No, it's
a living hell
Denver in
here.
particular
Don't
is an
come to the
active
state.
now.
Yes, exactly.
Gen Xers.
There's no water for
True.
years.
Millennials.
It's a wonderful thriving hub of social activity and good employment opportunities and stuff like that. And they seem to be driving the market down there quite a bit.
Boulder in particular is a big startup place, so that's very attractive to companies.
I do have, in regards to that whole thing, with the whole water stuff, are you finding that there are a lot, I've seen that they're starting to charge extra fees in the homeowners associations and stuff like that for newer areas. Have you seen any of that type of stuff for water restrictions and stuff like that? And
I
water
haven't seen that too
costs?
much. Water is a big question for the West, which brings me to my next slide. So Colorado is in this section here. When we go through periods of extreme drought, it makes you wonder how we're going to serve all of our communities. And yeah, I mean, we have watersheds that are pretty strong up in the mountains, and we had good snowfall this year. But what about our surrounding land? I mean, are we going to be able to grow crops? Are we going to be able to have livestock, that kind of thing? So I think the entire West is going to be faced with this question mark of what are we going to do with global warming? Because I do believe it's real. So here we are nationally. So the national average sale price single family home is $276,900. So we get this from the National Association of Realtors. And what's interesting here for the single family price, the average, not the median. So this is when it occurs most frequently. This is an average. The average of 2014 was 255.5, went up to 267.3 to 276.9. So that is the national average for a single family home.
So Keaton, if you can, kind of finish it up in about
Yes.
a minute.
This is our snapshot. What does it all mean? Well, if you bought here in the Colorado area, you're lucky. I mean, I think prices are going to continue to go up in 2017. Using low interest rates means that you can leverage yourself into a property that will continue appreciating. And we don't see any end in sight for people coming to Colorado. So I'd love to help you find an investment property or move into your own home if you haven't already done so. Possibly looking to increase your portfolio and getting into investment properties.